Well, hey guys, this is Dr. Drake 63. Welcome to my channel today. Just got a brief little, editorial comment, message, if you will, for the social media world out there. And that is the thought that we as firearms owners need to respect each other. I'm going to go case in point with this. There seems to be a pretty sizable gap, if you will, between folks that are in what are called the baby boomer generation and folks that are in what's called the millennial generation. I think that generation gaps have existed as long as there's been teenagers and young adults and the parents that raised them. So that's nothing new, but we're in a time right now where our firearms rights are under attack more than they've ever been. It's becoming more and more politically correct to call for things like extreme infringement upon, if not abolishment of, the Second Amendment. There's just a lot of people in this country that don't see a need for people to keep and bear arms regardless of what the constitutional guarantee is. Now, obviously, if you watch my channel, you know where I stand. I believe we ought to have the right to keep and bear arms, and not just shotguns or bolt-action rifles or revolvers, also semi-automatic pistols, AR-15s, things of that nature. I'm not here today to get into a debate about this is what the 2A means, this is not what it means, any of that kind of stuff. There's plenty of people to do that. But I am here to tell you that with our rights being under attack to the degree that they are, and brother, they are under attack like you wouldn't believe. With that going on, we've got a problem if we can't stick together as firearms owners. And right now, I see a whole generation of people that, quite frankly, are in their late teens, their 20s, their 30s, some of them in their 40s, who think that it's perfectly okay in places like social media and so forth to call out older guys simply because they are older guys. I personally I'm active on social media, on Facebook, firearms related groups and pages and so forth, and there's just too many of them anymore that I just can't get involved with, because somebody will come flying out of the blue and call me something like a Fudd because I happen to have a little gray in my beard. Or they'll say, hey, you're probably the kind of guy that negotiated away all of our gun rights. And you know what? Nothing could be further from the truth. Now, just because my videos aren't me waving my hands talking about what I'm going to do and people don't do it, just because I don't do that doesn't mean that I don't hold these rights that we have very dear to my heart. I do. I'm not somebody that's going to get up on video and scream about it and make a lot of noise, stuff like that. I put my money where my mouth is in terms of supporting firearms organization or firearms rights organizations, not just organization, but multiple. I've been involved as a delegate in my state Senate and congressional areas, mainly because of concern with pro-Second Amendment rights. So I've done a lot of different things and will continue to do things, including awareness via my YouTube channel. Okay. If somebody wants to call me out personally and talk about me doing anything to erode their rights, let's step out back of the woodshed.
Well, son, since you haven't learned to respect your elders, it's time you learn to respect your betters. Oh. If you were my father.
Go ahead. I give you leave.
But here's my concern. If we're going to have a whole generation of people that just points the fingers at anybody that isn't exactly them and has some kind of age-related problem with people that are older than them, and they're going to call them out and be rude and disrespectful, I think they're the problem. I think they're a bigger problem than the so-called gun grabbers. And I'll tell you why. If you don't know how to exhibit decency and respect for people in society, you're not a very good ambassador for the firearms community. If you're somebody that's always threatening in how you conduct yourself and how you speak, you're not a very good ambassador for the firearms community. All you're doing is you're giving the people that would take your guns away because they're afraid you're crazy, you're giving them ammunition because you're acting antisocial and, yes, crazy, okay? The only way that we're going to be able to keep this going here in the United States, the only way we're going to be able to hang on to our firearms rights is if we stick together and work together and not point fingers, not call each other names. No one, by the way, has ever called me a Fudd to my face. People tend to be respectful in person, but when you can hide behind a keyboard and you can make comments on people like throwing rocks from the bushes at the passing cars, yeah, cowardly behavior is something that's a big part of what we do today. Those same people want to make it sound like they're going to be the first to show up on the line, wherever it is, when the shit hits the fan, whatever that is, and they're going to protect their rights. So, what am I really getting at? I'm getting at as an older guy myself, and I'm not old. I'm 55 years old. I'm still physically active. I still hunt. I still camp. I still fish. I can still do things like lift weights and fitness activities, things like that. So, but as an older guy, definitely not a young guy, I can be open and listen to and helpful and all sorts of things to folks who are behind me on the path of life. And I try to do that. I try to be helpful versus hurtful whenever I can. But what I can't do is I can't fix rudeness. I can't fix lack of intelligence. I can't fix lack of perspective. And when people don't have any kind of solution to what needs to be done, they just have rage, they just have angst and anger, they just want to lash out at everybody and anything that they believe is being the problem, they're the problem. If you're somebody that watches my channel, and you're somebody that likes to throw the word Fudd around, I'm going to ask you a favor right now. Reach out and hit that unsubscribe button. We are in a republic. We're in a constitutional form of government. It's worth fighting and dying for. But at the same point in time, we're not going to accomplish that by beating the crap out of each other over differences in semantics, over differences in age, over lack of respect for people who've made a lot of your rights today possible. You know, we don't have anything to work with. So if we want to have an opportunity to own firearms 20 years from now, 40 years from now, 50 years from now, certainly own things like ARs and Glocks and things like that with more than 7 rounds or more than 10 rounds or something like that, we're going to have to stick together and we're going to have to pull off a hell of a fight. And I mean a fight by doing it the right way, by working through the system, by being good ambassadors for our hobby and our interests, being good ambassadors for the Second Amendment, being good ambassadors for our Constitution. Because there's too many people that are, quite frankly, look like they're on the fringe of society as opposed to in society, who have some real loud voices out there. That's me on my soapbox this afternoon. Sorry I couldn't show you guns or talk about a particular firearm or any of that today. Promise we'll get back to that next time, but we are in danger within the next election cycle even. We are in danger of seeing some changes in our ability to enjoy the Second Amendment and to celebrate the Second Amendment that we're not imagining right now. So, food for thought. This is Dr. Drake 63 saying so long.